Hi again, this is Tess, your friendly Minnesota online advisor. There may come a time as an online student that you need to find a course outside of your home college. So today we're going to learn how to use the System-Wide Course Search option available in eServices. Let's say that you are an online Alexandria Technical and Community College student, earning your Paralegal AAS degree. During a discussion with your program advisor, you found out that you need to take employment law this summer to fulfill your electives. You've searched for this course at Alexandria, but it's not offered this coming summer. So you'll need to do a mnscu system-wide course search to see if you can take the class through another college. After logging into eServices, you find yourself at My Dashboard. Next, click on Courses and Registration in the menu on the left-hand side of the page. Next, click on Search for a Course, also in the menu on the left-hand side of the page or in the menu in the middle of the page. You're now at Course Search. In the first field, instead of choosing to search for a course offered by your home college, choose System-Wide. By choosing this option, your search results will include all courses offered by all 31 MNSCU colleges and universities. Next, choose the semester in which you want to take your course, Summer 2013. Then expand the Advanced Search option and choose Online as your delivery method. In the keyword search box, type a word or words that accurately describe the course for which you are searching, in this case, employment law, and hit search. Wow, you're in luck. There is an online employment law course being offered this summer. Let's check it out. By clicking on the icon in the location column, you would usually be shown the name of the college who is offering the course. In this case, it's just a little more cryptic. It says External Studies. So let's click on the name of the course and see what happens. I see that under Location Details, this course is being offered through Bemidji State University. Perfect. Now you can return to the search results page and add this course to your wish list. Click on the Add button in the first column, then click OK when the dialog box appears informing you that this course has been added to your wish list. Now you can click on Review My Plan and proceed to register for the course. If you have any questions, please visit www.mnscu.edu and click on Help, where all of the friendly Minnesota online advisors are ready and waiting to assist you. Best of luck in your academic pursuits. See you next time. Bye-bye.